Welcome back, guys. Let's finish off talking about the river with a focus on our mental game. All right. We said at the beginning that mental game is just as important as all of the strategy. Less fun to talk about sometimes, which is why a lot of poker players spend less time talking about it. But I assure you it is just as important, especially on the river. So, why is there more stress on the river than at any other point? Simply because that's when the largest financial decisions get made. The pot is built up much larger than it is on the turn, than it is on the flop, than it is pre-flop, right? Oftentimes you are making all-in decisions, and those can really get the heart racing. So we want to make sure that we are operating from the best mental framework that we possibly can when we are making those tough decisions. All right. I want you to consider the fact that having stress overall is a good thing. All right, because there are two kinds of stress, and one of them is quite beneficial. If you're not feeling any stress at all during your decision making, it usually means that you're like a little bit zoned out. You're not focused. It doesn't really matter to you how things end up. And that indicates you are off of your A game. That means you're not making the most that you can be making. All right. So you want to have a little bit of pressure on you. And that pressure is felt in the form of eustress. All right. Eustress is sort of like the feeling you get before embarking on something fun that's going to be challenging. Maybe, you're going off on vacation. Maybe it's that feeling you have, if your team made it to the championships and there you are in the championship game, right? Eustress promotes motivation. It allows you to jump back from a setback much faster. All right. It's all of the good things that stress provides, and it counteracts everything that distress gives, which is the bad stress. That's when you feel anxiety. That's when you feel like there's too much going on and your head is clouded by what your body perceives as threats, and you sort of go into your fight or flight mode, which is the opposite place you want to be when making those tough river decisions. You want to have as much of your prefrontal cortex available to logically decide what you need to do. Just as we talked about mental game before, having a proper bankroll really helps stave away the distress, because you do not want to be thinking that the buy-in or two that you're going to lose in this river decision is going to hurt. You don't want to care about that at all. You want to understand that taking a few hits is part of the game. The best way to promote eustress is to warm up before you play. Like in every single sport, in every single physical activity, in every single competition, the competitors, the athletes, they are going to do some sort of warm up. Even if it's as simple as just stretching before your workout, you're still doing something to get you ready for that activity. And the same thing goes for your mental game. Strategically, you might do things like go over your c-bet strategy. You might review your pre-flop charts. You might focus on something specific, like how you're going to check raise or not when you're in a 3-bet pot out of position, right? Those are all strategic things that you should be warming up with, but let's talk about things that you can do to warm up your mind. Meditation is very popular with poker players because it works. There are many apps, there are many tutorials on YouTube on how to do this properly, whether you're doing it guided or not. It will bring benefit. So that is something that we recommend you do before starting a session. All right. Physical stretching, also very important. There's a strong connection between physical well-being and mental well-being. Getting your heart rate up before you sit down is a great way to get that eustress up. And finally, this might apply to some of you more than others, but you want to lean into your emotions. Obviously, we want to be as cold and calculated as a robot, as a computer, when we are doing something that is mathematically based. But keep in mind, we are biological creatures. We have not evolved to be computers. We've evolved to live off of emotion. It's what gets us running away from danger. I know a lot of people, not a lot, but there are some people who perhaps pride themselves on being cold and calculated. And I will tell you, those happen to be the people who get flustered the easiest, right? To understand yourself as a human is to come to terms with your emotional states. We cannot escape it. None of us can. And the more you lean into it, the more you'll be able to regulate yourself when you feel your emotions swaying your mental game to the negative. So what are some things you can do to push away the distress and bring in the eustress while you are playing? Top thing you can do is insert logic when things do not go your way. All right. Say you thought you could get away with a successful bluff going all in on the river, and all of a sudden you get called because, of course, the guy had 3 of a kind, right? Well, you can tell yourself something like, hey, he's not always going to have 3 of a kind there. I made the decision I thought that was best, and I know that in poker, things are not always 100%, all right? My aces are not going to hold up 100% of the time, and that means that my bluffs are not going to get through 100% of the time, nor do they need to, because mathematically, your bluffs need to get through way less for you to profit from them, all right? You could do some breath work. One way to reduce distress is to take breaths where your exhales are longer than your inhales. Why? Because that type of breath work tends to lower your heart rate, all right? So it could be something as simple as taking a deep breath in and slowly letting it out, like if you do that 3 to 5 times, it'll help slow down your heart rate, which will hopefully calm your emotions and allow you to proceed with that prefrontal cortex working on all cylinders. What distress does is it shuts off your prefrontal cortex where your logical thought happens, and it actually puts you back more into that emotional fight or flight state. So breath work helps avoid that, all right? Lastly, be in touch with your emotions, because sometimes these things do not work. Oftentimes they won't. And at any point, feel free to walk away, all right? Strong players, people who profit over and over again in the game of poker, they know when they feel too stressed, too tilted to play, they just get up. Sometimes that just might mean a 5 to 10 minute break. Sometimes that might mean breaking for a whole hour. If you're running exceptionally bad, perhaps you just take the rest of the day off. I assure you the games and the fish will be there the next day, the day after when you come back. Do not worry about that. Take your mind off of the game. Go do something relaxing. In the long run, that is going to keep your win rate as high as it can be. It is a plus EV decision to walk away when you are tilted. All right? Lastly, let's talk about some in-game fundamentals, because you are going to reach a river, right, where sometimes the distress creeps up on you right at that critical decision point, right, where all the chips are on the line and you need to know what to do, and you're going to feel like maybe you're completely lost, you're overwhelmed, you do not know how to start processing all of the information that is flooding your brain. All right, so what do? Take that deep breath, slowly let it out, and let's focus on three things that'll ground you into logical decision making. All right. First one being your villain profile. Are you playing against a fish? Are you playing against a reg? Is this someone who's a nit? Or is this someone who's a maniac? Right? Review the action histories that have led up to that river decision point. Those action histories will help you get a read on your opponent. All right? And if you are using Jurojin, you're going to have that information right up in front of your face. You do not need to waste any brain power remembering how the hand played out. You can just read back the history and start whittling the range down based on those actions. And finally, just look at your pot odds. Also, if you got Jurojin, that number is going to be popped right up. Remember, plus EV decisions happen when you think about pot odds or the reciprocal minimum defense frequency. These are the three things you want to think about that'll help ground you when you are feeling lost in that final river decision. Villain profile, the action history review, the pot odds you are getting or perhaps giving if you are thinking about putting the bet out yourself. So that is what we got for you. Thank you so much for listening. Happy grinding out there, guys. We'll catch you in the next one when we start connecting all of the dots together as we zoom back out from street by street play.
Download it for free at Jurojinpoker.com.